Hello, digital art students, it's Mr. House. So you've taken a picture of yourself in some silly pose as a hero or a villain. What to do next? Well, you'll launch Illustrator and start a new file. In this case, I would set it to Profile, Print, pick a letter, yeah, and then set it to Landscape Orientation. That's probably going to work best for you. And you could give it a name, hero. So blank canvas comes up. First thing you do is go to File, Place, and then look on your computer to find the photo you're going to use. I think I'll use this one. Oh yeah, looking good. So for my purposes, I'm going to zoom in on this, and by that I mean I'm going to make it much bigger than my bounding box. You'll notice right here the bounding box is that black line. So I'm going to just drag it out over here, and I'm ready to go. So come over here to layers, and this should be familiar to you by now. Double click on the layer, layer options come up, choose lock and dim. Next, now I'm going to actually zoom in on this. So I can go to the zoom tool, or I can press spacebar command and zoom in. I'm going to start on the face. Oh yeah, my. So rather than the pen tool, much to your relief, I'm going to have you try using the pencil tool. And you notice that when I clicked on it, I'm messing around with the fill and the stroke. I'm actually going to have no stroke, so I click on the stroke and choose none, and then click on the fill and make sure it's black. I can come up here and choose black. Then I double click on the pencil tool and I make sure that these options are selected. And I'm going to show you what they do. That's fill, keep selected, and edit selected paths. Alright, here we go. I'm going to zoom in even further. And these dark shadows in my eyes, I'm going to use them. I'm going to use them to my benefit and make some fierce looking crazy eyes. So I'm going to start on this little wrinkle here, and I click and drag and start tracing around like so. Come up all the way up here and then maybe exaggerate that a little bit. Exaggerate just means to make it more than real. That's one way to think about exaggeration. Come down, come up here and around and back, and notice I'm tracing an entire shape. That's what I'm doing. And when I let go, there it is in black. Now notice it has stayed selected. That allows me to go in and edit things. If I say want to make this a little bit like that, it changes it. If I'm done with it, I just hold the command key and click somewhere else. It deselects. I'm ready to do the next thing. Now I need to kind of get my eyes going in here, so I'm going to zoom in even more. And you'll notice that the picture is getting all pixelated, but I can tell what's going on here. So here I go. I'm going to start right here. Come around to this part of the eye, and I'm going to come back just the way I came and stop right there. And notice, if this is a line, I've traced the outside of the line. That's how I made it. I'm going to hold the command key, deselect, and go for this pupil here. go. And if I don't like that, I can kind of bring it out like that a little. Maybe flatten it at the top as though there's an eyelid. When I'm done, hold the Command key, deselect, and start on another line. And now I'm going to do this top part, eyelid, and Command click. Maybe this is good enough to zoom out. I'm going to hit Command 0 to zoom way out. And you can tell, check it out, I've got an eye going. And it might look kind of crazy. Now, the reason I'm having you use the pencil tool in this way is that you can create something called line width or line weight. Notice if I start here and come down like this and come back up and go through the thick part, and then it's going to come back to thin. It's a very expressive looking line. Let's compare it to a line you could make with the brush tool and or the pen tool. So let's see what this brush tool is going to do. Wow, it's really big right now, so let's change that. I want it to be a stroke, and a 1-point stroke, that ought to be about right. No, it's still too big. Let's make it 0.25. That's as low as I can go, and you can see it's really thick. So I could select this line and try to do something else with it. Let's go to basic. There we go. That's a little better. But notice the difference between these lines. This is just straight, or it's totally consistent. And it doesn't have a lot of character to it. And you'll notice there are very few lines like this in comic art. They usually have line weight, varying thickness, that kind of thing. Same goes for the pen tool. Let's give it a shot. Click once, click again. And while I can get a nice exact curve, once again, it is still just this style line. Now some of you might say, well, Mr. House, you could choose a different style of line. And I'd say, yeah, you can. Let's try this one. Okay, so these line brush styles, you know, have their, they work sometimes, but just know that in this kind of art, it's best to create the exact line that you want by using the pencil tool, where you just draw that line exactly the way you want to see. Here, let's try this one. This might be a little more expressive. And it got all fat and it got gray, and you know, I just don't really like using brushes in this case. So I'm going to delete that. So I would then continue after I do the face to start drawing in on different layers. The clothes, maybe split up arms and legs on different layers until I have all the black lines that I need, and that is your key line. That should get you started. Thanks for learning.